कालाद्गुणा व्यतिकरः परिणाम स्वभावतः कर्मणो जन्म महतः पुरुषाधिष्ठिताद्भुतः कालाद्गुणा व्यतिकरः परिणामः स्वभावतः कर्मणो जन्म महतः पुरुषाधिष्ठिताद्भुतः. So after the first incarnation, that is Karnadakshayi Vishnu, the Mahatattva or the principles of material creation that takes place. Kala means from eternal time, Guna Vitikaraha, the transformation of the modes of creation, Parinama, transformation, Swabhavata, from the nature, Karmana, of the activities, Janma, creation, Mahattaha, of the Mahatattva, Purusha Dishtitat, of the Purusha incarnation of the Lord, then it took place. That is Abhuta. Abhuta, it took place. So then time is manifested, and in course of time, the three qualities appear. So Lord glances at Mahatattva. So because of Karnadakshayi Vishnu, the Mahatattva, they take place, the principles of material creation takes place, and then time factor. And after the time factor, all these three modes of material nature, they appear. So nature means three qualitative appearances. They transform into activities, karmana, swabhavatah karmana, janma, mahatta. So after Purusha adhishtita, after the Purusha incarnation, mahatta, that is mahattattva, is created. And from mahattattva, swabhavata. Parinama is what? The parinama is kala. And the kala transforms into three modes of material nature. Okay. Venkatesh Avatar,
Hare Krishna Madhya. कालाद गुण व्यतिकरः परिणाम स्वभावतः कर्मणो जन्म महत पुरुषाधिष्ठिताद्भुत. Translation. After the incarnation of the first Purusha, Karanavashayi Vishnu, the Mahat Tattva or the principle of material creation take place, and then time is manifested, and in course of time the three qualities appear. Nature means the three qualitative appearances. They transform into the activities. Purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By the omnipotency of the Supreme Lord, the whole material creation evolves by the process of transformation and reactions one after another. And by the same omnipotency, they are wound up again one after another and conserved in the body of the Supreme. Kala or time is the synonym of nature and is the transformed manifestation of the principle of material creation. As such, Kala may be taken as the first cause of all creation, and by transformation of nature, different activities of the material world become visible. These activities may be taken up as the natural instinct of each and every living being, or even of the inert object. And after the manifestation of activities, there are varieties of products and byproducts of same nature. So originally, these are all due to the Supreme Lord. So the Vedanta Sutra and the Bhagavatam thus begin with the absolute truth as the beginning of all the creation. Janmadhyasya yatanvayadita. Hare Krishna. No voice, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Shri Vishwal Chakravarti Thakur's commentary, small commentary, says time and other factors that has been discussed, that they are the agitators for the three modes of material nature. How the three modes of material nature has come into being? Because of time and other factors that has been given. And then, next verse. Mahatastu Vikurvana-drajjaha Satchopabramhutat Tama Pradhanastvabhavat Dravya Jnana Kriyatmakah. महतस्तु विकरणाव महतस्तु विकुर्वाण रजः सत्त्वोपबृंहितात् तमः प्रधानस्वभवत् द्रव्यज्ञान क्रियात्मकः. So from Mahatattva, three gunas come. The first guna which comes is the transformation is goodness. The first is goodness. Mahattaha of the Mahatattva. Vikurvana. Vikurvana means transform. Rajaha, passion. Sataha, goodness. Upabrahmitaha, because of being increased. Tamaha, the mode of darkness. Pradamaha, being prominent. Tu, but abhuvat, took place. Dravya, matter. Jnana, material knowledge. Kriyatma, predominantly material existence. So the transformation of Mahatattva is happening. It is predominance is what? Rajas and tamas. What is tamas? More rajas, when increases, it becomes tamas. And in this way, it is said here, because of that ahankara comes. And this ahankara is composed of adibhuta, adhyatma, and aditaiva. That is been given here. Same thing here, adibhuta, matter, knowledge, and different activities. We have seen this. Adibhuta, adhyatma, and adidaiva. Adidaiva. Different activities are because of the different senses. Adidaiva, knowledge, that is adhyatma. Then adibhuta, that is matter. So three things come. Adibhuta. Adibhuta means adhyatma. Adibhuta is outside, matter. Adhyatma means within, right? Adhyatma means within. Understand it very nicely. Matter. Matter is external. Adibhuta. We say na adibhuta tapa, adidaiva tapa, adhyatmik tapa. Don't say of tapa, because we have related this word to tapa now. We only connect it to tapa. We should also understand adibhuta. And
voice.
Because senses are there, and the senses are controlled by 1 minute. Senses are controlled by the devatas. That is why adhyatma, adidaiva has been given. Okay, read. Aruna, read.
Hare Krishna. Text 23. Mahatastu vikurvanadraja satvopam brihitat tama pradhanastvabhavat dravyajnana kriyatmakah. Translation: the material activities are caused by the Mahatattvas being agitated. At first, there is transformation of the modes of goodness and passion, and later, due to the mode of ignorance, matter, its knowledge, and different activities of material knowledge come into play. Okay. Purport: Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Material creations of every description are more or less due to the development of the mode of passion, rajas. The Mahat Tattva is the principle of the material creation, and when it is agitated by the will of the Supreme, at first the modes of passion and goodness are prominent, and afterwards the mode of passion being generated in due course by material activities of different varieties become prominent, and the living entities are thus involved more and more in ignorance. Brahma is the representation of the mode of passion, and Vishnu is the representation of the mode of goodness, while the mode of ignorance is represented by Lord Shiva and father of all material activities. Material nature is called the mother, and the initiator for materialistic life is the Father, Lord Shiva. All material creation by the living entities is therefore initiated by the mode of passion. With the advancement of the duration of life in a particular millennium, the different modes act by gradual development in the age of Kali, when the mode of passion is most prominent. Material activities of different varieties in the name of advancement of human civilization take place, and the living entities become more and more involved in forgetting their real identity. The spiritual nature, real identity, the spiritual nature. By the slight cultivation of the mode of goodness, a glimpse of the spiritual nature is perceived, but due to the prominence of the mode of passion, the mode of goodness becomes adulterated. Therefore, one cannot transcend the limits of the material modes, and therefore, realization of the Lord, who is always transcendental to the modes of material nature, becomes very difficult for the living entities, even though prominently situated in the mode of goodness through cultivation of the various methods. In other words, the gross matters and Adi Bhutam, their maintenance is Adi Daivam, and the initiator of material activities is called Adhyatmam. In the material world, these three principles act as prominent features, namely as raw material, its regular supplies, and its use in different varieties of material creations for the sense enjoyment by the bewildered entities. Hare Krishna.
So nicely it has been given. Gross matter, Adhibhuta, right? Adhibhuta, outside things, Adhibhuta. Adhyatma, initiator of material activities. Like Uttaha, we say, no? Uttaha. What is initiating you to do a material activity? Some motivation. That's mind functions. So that is how initiator of material activities. Your karmas also, one's own karmas, everything. And maintenance is Aditya. So you perform an activity that maintains you. Okay. Adidaivam, the senses which are synchronized in performing the activities. Sohankar iti prokto vikurvan samabhut tridha vaikarikas teijasascha tamasascheti yad bhidang Dravya Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, iti Prabhu. Sohankar iti prokto vikurvan samabhutridhang vaikarikas teijasascha tamasascheti yadbhida dravya shakti kriya shakti jnana shakti iti Prabhu. Sir, the very same thing, ahankara, ego, iti thus, proktah said, vikurvan, being transformed, samabhuta, became manifested, tridha, in three features, vaikarikaha, in the mode of goodness, tajasa, tejasaha, mode of passion, tamasaha, mode of ignorance. Then cha, also, iti thus, yat what is, bhida, divided, dravya shaktihi, powers that evolve matter, Kriya Shakti, initiation that created, Jnana Shakti, intelligence that guides, Iti, thus Prabhu, O Master. Same thing has been given. Now three modes have been created. Self-centered materialistic ego. What it created, it transformed into Mahat-tattva. This Mahat-tattva, when you say materialistic ego means the identification, the whole Mahat-tattva, materialistic ego. It transformed into mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance in three divisions. Namely, the power that evolved matter, that is Adhibhuta, Adhyatma, and that is knowledge of material creation, and the intelligence or the knowledge of material creation, that is Adidaiva, and the intelligence that guides the material activities. So in this way, Adhyatma, Narada, you are quite competent to understand this. That is Adhibhuta, Adhi Daiva, and Adhyatma. Okay. So here, knowledge of material creation, their knowledge comes in this Adi Adhyatma. Wherever knowledge word comes, it is Adhyatma. Intelligence that guides material activities, that is Adidaiva. Okay, Adidaiva. So three things evolved because of goodness, passion, ignorance. What is the three things which evolved? Your senses is evolved. What type of senses a person gets? Now see, there are various types of species, 84 lakh species. Everybody has got different Adibhuta, Adidaiva, and Adigyana. Adibhuta, Adidaiva, Adhyatma. Everybody's activities are different. Everybody's knowledge to perform the activity is also different. Matter is also different. And then this knowledge, that is knowledge of material creation is also different. Knowledge of material creation is how to create now. Next, how to. Like somebody is making chapati. It's also creation only, sub-creations. It's also different. So we have to understand it has a very deeper meaning because of the self-centered materialistic ego. Everybody has a different types of ego. His own identification with the matter, which evolved because of which there is an impression which is created for every jiva. Now, Mahat Tattva is a gross thing. In that Mahat Tattva, Krishna infuses Kala Shakti and Jiva Shakti in the course of time. What happened? This Kala Shakti gave rise to three modes of material nature. That means the self-centered ego that rose to three modes of material nature. Everybody's permutation combination of these three modes of nature is different. And according to that, senses are given. That is senses? Adidaiva, senses are given. And because of that senses, we perform activities. And then matter is given, what type of body we get. Matter is given. Senses are given. For matter, what we call Adhibhuta. Then senses are given to perform activity. But how to do that activity, knowledge also should be there. So Adhyatma is also. So these words are a little technical, but if you go deeper, you can understand very nicely. What happened? Jiva Shakti, Kala Shakti is penetrated. And because of the self-centered ego, in the due course of time, our identification with a particular thing, like my thought process, yam vapi smaran bhavam tajatyante kalevaram. In whatever thing I have put my consciousness, that type of body I will get. So self-centered ego. That self-centered ego in due course of time, along with Kala Shakti, gave rise to three things. And these three things, it differs according to body. And because of that, we get a particular type of body that is known as matter. In English, it is known as matter. In Sanskrit, it is known as Adhibhuta. And that is external, matter, external. And then the consciousness, Adhyatma. That means the knowledge, Adhyatma. And because of that knowledge, how to create and all, the senses are given for performing material activity, which is again controlled by Devatas. That is by Adhidaiva. Okay, is it easy now? we have to absorb it in an easy way. We cannot make it very hard. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. So ahankara iti prokto vikurvan samutridha vaikarikastaijascha tamasascheti yatvidha dravya shakti kriya shakti jnana shakti iti prabho. The self-centered materialistic ego, thus being transformed into three features, becomes known as the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance in three divisions, namely the powers that evolve matter, knowledge of material creation, and the intelligence that guides such materialistic activities. Narada, you are quite competent to understand this. Purport. Materialistic ego, or the sense of identification with matter, is grossly self-centered, devoid of clear knowledge of the existence of God. And this self-centered egoism of the materialistic living entities is the cause of their being conditioned by the other paraphernalia and continuing their bondage of material existence. In the Bhagavad Gita, this self-centered egoism is very nicely explained in the 7th chapter, verse 24 through 27. The self-centered impersonalist, without a clear conception of the personality of Godhead, concludes in his own way that the personality of Godhead takes a material shape from his original impersonal spiritual existence for a particular mission. And this misleading conception of the Supreme Lord by the self-centered impersonalist continues, even though he is seen to be very interested in the Vedic literatures such as the Brahma Sutras and other highly intellectual sources of knowledge. This ignorance of the personal feature of the Lord is due simply to ignorance of the mixture of different modes. The impersonalist thus cannot conceive of the Lord's eternal spiritual form of eternal knowledge, bliss, and existence. The reason is that the Lord reserves the right of not exposing himself to the non-devotee, who even after a thorough study of literature, like the Bhagavad Gita, remains an impersonalist simply by obstinacy. This obstinacy is due to the action of Yoga Maya, a personal energy of the Lord that acts like an aide-de-camp by covering the vision of the obstinate impersonalist. Such a bewildered human being is described as mudha, or grossly ignorant, because he is unable to understand the transcendental form of the Lord as being unborn and unchangeable. If the Lord takes a form or material shape from his original impersonal feature, then it means that he is born and changeable from impersonal to personal. But he is not changeable, nor does he ever take a new birth like a conditioned soul. The conditioned soul may take a form birth after birth due to his conditional existence in matter, but the self-centered impersonalist, by their gross ignorance, accept the Lord as one of them because of self-centered egoism, even after so-called advancement of knowledge in the Vedanta. The Lord, being situated in the heart of every individual living entity, knows very well the tendency of such conditioned souls in terms of past, present, and future. But the bewildered conditioned soul hardly can know him in his eternal form. By the will of the Lord, therefore, the impersonalist, even after knowing the Brahman and Paramatma features of the Lord, remains ignorant of his eternal personal feature as ever existent Narayana, transcendental to all material creation. The cause of such gross ignorance is constant engagement by the materialistic man in the matter of artificially increasing material demands. To realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one has to purify the materialistic senses by devotional service. The mode of goodness or the Brahminical culture recommended in the Vedic literatures is helpful to such spiritual realization, and thus the Jnana Shakti stage of the conditioned soul is comparatively better than the other two stages, namely Dravya Shakti and Kriya Shakti. The whole material civilization is manifested by a huge accumulation of materials, or in other words, raw materials for industrial purpose. And the industrial enterprise, Kriya Shakti, are all due to gross ignorance of spiritual life. In order to rectify this great anomaly of materialistic civilization, based on the principles of Dravya Shakti and Kriya Shakti, one has to adopt the process of devotional service of the Lord by adoption of the principles of Karma Yoga, mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita 9.27 as follows. Yat karoshi yad ashnasi yad juhosi dadasi yat Yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva mad arpanam. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Now, how from these three modes of material nature, these three modes of material nature functions only when we have a false identification. That is how Srila Prabhupada starts. Materialistic ego is, or the sense of identification with matter, is grossly self-centered, and it is devoid of clear knowledge of existence of the God. It is why materialistic ego is there. Forgetfulness of Krishna makes a jiva come in this materialistic life. How we are doing material activities because of the forgetfulness of Krishna and the self-centered ego. Now, three modes of material nature. How these gross five elements and sense objects. 5 senses are there, no? 5 senses, gross elements first. Gross elements, and then sense objects, how they have appeared. We have this 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Then we have sense objects. We have, for earth we have nose, for water we have tongue, earth, water, fire we have eyes, for air we have skin, for sky we have sound. So these are subtle. They are the subtle form. So now from tamas, what appeared? Let us see. Tamasa, because Krishna has done this creation, these 5 elements, how did they come? They came because of the 3 modes of material nature. How 3 modes of material nature came? Because of time. How this time influence was there? Because of the jiva's ego. Because of that, Mahat Tattva transformed into time, you can say, transform into time influence on this ego. And because of the 3 modes of material nature came, because of the 3 modes of material nature, you have 5 gross elements. But when we study 24 elements, we study first that, and then we see the 3 modes of material nature as pradhan. Last we put, isn't it? Last we put. But actually, it starts from there only. 3 modes of material nature because of the time influence and ego. And because of self-centered ego. Because of the 3 modes of nature. And 3 modes of material nature, 5 gross elements. That has been given. Tamasadapi bhutade vikurvana abhud navaha tasya matra guna shabdo lingam yad drashtru drishyayoho तामसादपि भूतादेर्विकुर्णाद् अभुन्नवः तस्य मात्रा गुणः शब्दो लिंगम यद द्रष्टृ दृश्ययोः. So from tamas, that is tamasad. One is tamas, one is tamasat. Tamasat means from. From tamas, api, certainly, bhutadahi, these material elements, vikurnavat, it got transformed. Abhud, generated, from that generated sky. The first thing came is sky. Tasya matra. We say tanmatras, matras sparshastu kaunteya, that is that. This is tanmatra, the subtle form of the same sky is Shabda, sound. That's why Matra Sparshastu Kaunte Shitoshna Sukha Dukkha Agamapaino Nitya Tansitiksha Matra Tansitiksha Bharata. So these Tanmatras, they are very subtle, like sound is subtle, touch is subtle. These are all subtle things. So Lingam means characteristics. Yad Drashtaha Trishyoho. So in this way, the seer is in relationship with the seen. So there is a subtle form which is known as sound. Sound. Exactly as a seer is in relationship with the seen. Yes. You are seeing something, that means there is an object. There is a seer. What is he seeing? He is seeing that thing. So there is a relationship with the eyes and the sight. In the same way, there is a relationship with the sky and the sound. There is a person who is hearing. That means he and the sound are in touch. So the sky and the vacuum in the sky. This given here, vacuum in the sky. Because of this, the sound is traveling. So they are interrelated with each other. In the same way, like how the seer and the seen are interrelated with each other, sky and the sound are interrelated with each other. There is a vacuum. Because of it, the sound is traveling. You cannot separate sky and the sound. The body has sky. The body has this element sky. That is why there is a process of hearing. Why you are able to hear. No sound can travel in vacuum, but Krishna's sound can travel in vacuum. Krishna has created such a thing that in the vacuum the sound is traveling. It is very difficult to understand actually. It is not an ordinary vacuum. It's a vacuum within the sky. We are talking about the sky here, not the sky which is there on the top. This is an element. Generally, we think sky means okay, up. Even that is also, if you go up and up and up, where is sky? It is such a thing which is very difficult to understand. Like the plane goes up. For us, the sky is little bit. When the plane goes up, the sky is more. The bird can, it is said, now the bird, one proverb is there. For a bird which flies high till that time, that for that bird, that is the sky. Isn't it? Something is there, and proverb is there for that. The sky, what we are speaking about, this is generated from the tamas. That is ignorance. That is why sky has no limit. Sky has no limit. Why we say this? Sky has no limit. This is tamas. This is again a thing which is actually ignorance. From the mode of ignorance, the sky comes. And the sky comes, the sound travels. When we speak about the vacuum, we are not talking about you create a vacuum and you try to put a sound in that. This is a ignorance, a part of the ignorance, the mode of ignorance, tamas, the deeper passion taking the form of ignorance, and this ignorance takes the form of sky. Very difficult to understand Krishna's creation. It's all like, okay, you have to just go on reading. And Krishna reveals what is sky, because it is materialistic creation. It all happens because of forgetfulness of Krishna. And Krishna says, why I want to tell you about all this. Yes, sky and ether is the same. Ether. Okay. Venkatesh Avatar Prabhu, read. Gyandeep Prabhu must be traveling now.
Hare Krishna Mati, Dandatna. Tamasat api bhutader vikurvana tabhunanabha tasya matra guna shabdo lingam yadrishta drashyayo. Translation. From the darkness of the false ego, the first of the five elements, namely the sky, is generated. It is subtle form is the quality of sound, exactly as the seer in the relationship with the seen. Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The five elements, namely sky, air, fire, water, and earth, are all but different qualities of the darkness of false ego. This means that the false ego in the sum total from Mahat Tattva is generated from the marginal potency of the Lord. And due to this false ego of the lording it
What
over.
is it? Identification. What is false ego? Again, that is an illusion, isn't it?
So due to this false ego of lording it over the material creation, ingredients are generated for the false enjoyment of the living being. The living being is practically the dominating factor over the material element as the enjoyer. So through the background is the Supreme Lord. Factually save and except the Lord, no one can be called the enjoyer. But the living entity falsely desires to become the enjoyer. So this is the origin of the false ego. So when the bewildered living being desire this shadow element are generated by the will of the Lord, and the living entities are allowed to run after them as after the phantasmagorgia. So it is said that the tanmatra, sound is created, and then the sky. And in this verse, it is confirmed that actually it is so. But sound is the subtle form of the sky. And the distinction is like that between the seer and the seen. The sound is the representation of the actual object, as the sound produced speaking of the object gives an idea of description of the object. So therefore sound is the subtle characteristics of the object. Similarly, sound representation of the Lord in terms of his characteristics is the complete form of the Lord, as was seen by the Vasudeva and Maharaj Dasharatha, the father of the Lord Krishna and the Lord Rama. The sound representation of the Lord is non different from the Lord himself, because the Lord and his representation in sound are absolute knowledge. Lord Chaitanya has instructed us that in the holy name of the Lord, as sound representation of the Lord, all the potencies of the Lord are invested. Thus, one can immediately enjoy the association of the Lord by the pure vibration of the sound representation of his holy name. And the concept of the Lord is immediately manifested before the pure devotee. A pure devotee, therefore, is not aloof from the Lord's even for a moment. The holy name of the Lord, as recommended in the Shastra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, may therefore be constantly chanted by the devotee aspiring to the constantly in touch with the Supreme Lord. One who is thus able to associate with the Lord is sure to delivered from the darkness of the created world. So which is a product of false ego. Tamsi tamasma jyot
Tamasoma
tamasoma
Jyotirgama.
jyotirgama. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So sound representation. Om is also sound representation. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is sound representation. So how to utilize this sound? Use it with the actual object or connect that sound to actual object. Then one can come out of this ignorance, because this is the first product of ignorance. Then what happens? From the ignorance, sound came. All the first five elements have come. The first thing is the sound. There is sky. Then from the sky, what happens? Nabasa vikurvana abhut purusha gulonil abhut sparsha gulonilaha paranvaya shabdavamscha prano ojah saho balam vayorapi vikurvana कालकर्म स्वभावतः उदा पद्यतो तेजो वै रूपवत् स्पर्श शब्दवत् तेजसस्तु विकुर्वाण आसीद् अनिभोरसात्मकः रूपवत् स्पर्शवत् राम्भो चाम्भो. One second. Yeah. Rupavat sparshavat jambhu घोषवच्छ पराण्वयात् विशेषस्तु विकुर्वाण अम्भसो गन्धवान्नभूत् परान्वयात् रसस्पर्शः शब्दरूप गुणोन्वितः. So from the sky, thus ataha vikurnavat, transformed, the sky is transformed, abhut generated to sparsha, gunaha, that is quality, then anilaha, air. So from the sky came the air, and from the air the subtle form is touch. Para anvayad, in this way succession. Shabdavat, full of sound. Cha, also. Pranaha, life. Ojaha, sense perceptions. Shabdaha. What is that word? What is that word came coming? Fat. What is that? Shabdaha. What is that word? fat, na? Was my this is not proper. The words are not saha, fat, balam, strength, vayu of the air, api also, vikarnava, transformation, kala time, karma reactions of the past, swabhavataha on the basis of nature, udapatyataha generated, teja fire. Now see from the air fire. Why duly rupavad with form, sparsha touch, shabdavat with sound also, teja of the fire, two, but vikurnavat, cha being transformed, ishat it so happened, ambuhu water, rasoatmakam, composed of juice, rupavat with form, sparshavat with touch, cha and ambuhu the water, koshavat with sound, cha and para previous, anvayat by succession. Then Visheshaha, variegatedness, two, but then Vikurlavat by transformation, Ambasaha of water, Gandhavan, orders, Abhut became para previous, Anvayat by succession, Rasa juice, Sparsha touch, Shabda sound, Rupa Guna Anvitaha, qualitative. So from the air, from the sky came air. Now air is the quality of touch. How can we understand air? That is touch. Then the previous succession of air is full of sound. Because previous succession is full of sound. That is the sky. And the basic principles of duration of life, sense perception, mental power, bodily strength. Okay, basic principles of duration of life. Adibhuta, same thing. Adibhuta, Adhyatma, Adideva. That is the basic principles of duration of life. You have Adibhuta, then you have Adhyatma, then you have Adideva. Okay, sense perception, mental power, bodily strength. Bodily strength is that there is no activity you can do. Understanding? Sense perception, mental power, Adhyatma, sense perception, Adibhuta. You have the sense perceptions, and then bodily strength you have, Adideva. So all these things are there, and this is all because this is deciding. These are the basic principles. What is the basic principle? Prana. Prana is the basic principle. If you have prana, then only you can have mental power, bodily strength. Sometimes you say, no, prana is not there. What is the meaning? Somewhere the air and the sky is not fully functioning. What happens when the soul gives up the body? The prana reduces. That is why air. This is a basic principle. Because the sky is transformed, the air is generated with quality of touch. And by previous succession, the air is full of sound. And basic principles of duration of life. Air is prana. Prana vayu. Vayu you say, na? Vayu. Air means vayu. If vayu is not there, then what will happen? And this, because of that vayu, all these three is there. Adibhuta, Adhyatma, and Adideva is there. Okay, sense perceptions are there, mental power is there, and bodily strength is there to perform an activity. We say in the childhood,
sense perception should be Adideva messages.
Sense perceptions.
As you said, like senses
Yes,
are being
Adideva. Yes, Adideva. Yeah, you can Adideva. Then, but you can even tell this for Adideva for even bodily strength also. You can do that. You can mold it in different ways.
okay.
So you can mold it in different ways. If you want, you can even keep there Adideva, Adhyatma, and Adibhuta also you can say. But anyhow, these three are there because prana is there. In the childhood, there is a lot of prana. That is why they have a lot of bodily strength. They can memorize the shlokas very fast. And then you see, it is said up to 14 years, your body has a lot of vayu, not vayu,
Cough, lot of cough is there. Lot of cough is there. That cough gives an ability to memorize and have a lot of strength. Then Pitta dosha starts. It's not Pitta increases. India doshas only, Pitta dosha. After 50 years, you have a lot of Vata dosha. That is why joint pains and all comes. So this Kapha dosha means lot of air. That is why generally it is said, you should not keep the child directly under the fan. Already Kapha dosha is there. Lot of AC to put, then Kapha dosha will increase. Cough is anyhow more. Why the child gets cough and cold? Because of the fault in the parents. Parents keep full-fledged of AC. Already their cough is there in the body too much. And we are increasing more cough. And that cough is actually not a dosha. Actually, it is a dosha. You can say dosha, not a dosha also. But that provokes a person to work more and memorize also fast. So we should understand this very nicely. This is how the air is more. Cough means air. Air is more. And this air gives rise to all these things. Sense perceptions, mental power, bodily strength. When the air is transformed in the due course of time, fire is generated, taking the shape of touch and sound. Fire means what? Fire. Taking the shape with the sense of touch and sound, this fire is transformed. Then water. So fire, how you see the fire? By sight. Sight, isn't it? But here, slowly it has been covered. Fire is also transformed. There is a transformation of water, full of juice and taste. Then comes, it also has form, touch, and is full of sound. Now see, first was sound, then air came. That air has sound also and touch also. So these are included. It has everything. In the same way, as water being transformed from all bad-active tenderness on earth appears order, and as this is also having everything. Juice is there, full of juice. That is, taste is there, touch is there, sound is there, form is there, respectively. Here, sight is not included. You have seen this? The sight is not in the fire, sight is not included. Though we tell fire to sight. But if you see here, only 4 sense objects have been given. 4 sense objects. Taste is there, touch is there, sound is there, form is there. Where is sight? It is understood. That is understood. It's just understood. So initially what was created? Was sound. From that sound, now slowly, that is from the sky came air. That air gave rise to touch and sound. Don't just say touch. Now see, it is a deeper thing. When we studied 24 elements, we only studied one. Now this air has touch also, sound also. Air is there, that is why you are able to hear also. Air has touch also, sound also. Fire has touch also, sound also. Fire gave rise to water. Water has taste also, touch also, sound also. This water gave rise to earth, which has what you call it? Fragrance, that is form. Earth has form. Earth has form also. Acha, here form has been given to earth. Earth also has fragrance. Order is also there. Here form has been given. That means sight has been given. In the fire, it is form actually. In the fire, there is a form. You understand? Form means what you're seeing. Earth is what you're smelling. So in the last line, that 5th one is not included. That is fragrance, order has not been included. Form is there. Okay. So fire has form also, touch also, sound also. So water has taste also, touch also, sound also, form also. Earth has order also, form also, touch also, sound also, and form, also, all the five. So in this way, all these subtle qualities also came. Okay. Aruna, read. Read.
Hare Krishna, text 26 to 29. Nabasota vikurvana bhut sparsha guno nilaha paranvayat chabdavanscha prana ojasaho balam vayorapi vikurvana kala karma swabhavatah udapadyata tejo vai rupavat sparsha shabdavat तेज सस्तु विकुर्वाणा तासी दम्भो रसात्मकं रूपवत् स्पर्शवत् छाम्भो घोषवच्च परान्वयात् विशेषस्तु विकुर्वाणा दम्भसो गन्धवान् भूत परान्वयात् रसस्पर्श शब्दरूपगुणान्वितः. Translation. Because the sky is transformed, the air is generated with the quality of touch, and by various succession, the air is also full of sound and the basic principles of duration of life, sense perception, mental power, and bodily strength. When the air is transformed in course of time and nature's course, fire is generated, taking shape with the sense of touch and sound. Since fire is also transformed, there is a manifestation of water full of juice and taste. As previously, it also has form and touch and is also full of sound. And water, being transformed from the variegatedness of earth, appears odorous and, as previously, becomes qualitatively full of juice, touch, sound, and form, respectively. Purport, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The whole process of creation is an act of gradual evolution and development from one element to another, reaching up to the variegatedness of the earth as so many trees, plants, mountains, rivers, reptiles, birds, animals, and varieties of human beings. The quality of sense perception is also evolutionary, namely generated from sound, then touch, and from touch to form. The taste and odor are also generated along with the gradual development of sky, air, fire, water, and earth. They are all mutually the cause and effect of one another. But the original cause of the Lord himself is plenary portion as Mahavishnu lying in the causal water of the Mahat Tattva. As such, Lord Krishna is described in the Brahma Samhita as the cause of all causes. And this is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 10.8 as follows. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mattas sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. The qualities of sense perception are fully represented in the earth and they are manifested in other elements to a lesser extent. In the sky, there is sound only, whereas in the air, there are sound and touch. In the fire, there are sound, touch, and shape. And in the water, there is taste also, along with the other perceptions, namely sound, touch, and shape. In the earth, however, there are all the above mentioned qualities which are extra development of odor also. Therefore, on the earth, there is full display of variegatedness of life, which is originally stated with the basic principle of air. Diseases of the body take place due to derangement of air within the earthly body of the living beings. Mental diseases such as special derangement of the air within the body, and as such yogic exercise is specially beneficial to keep the air in order so that diseases of the body become almost nil by such exercises. When they
What
are
is prana?
properly done.
Pranayam? What is pranayam? Read.
When they are properly done, the duration of life also increases, and one can have control over the death also by such practices. The perfect yogi can have command over the death and quit the body at the right moment when he is competent to transfer himself to a suitable planet. The Bhakti yogi, however, surpasses all the yogis because by dint of his devotional service, he is promoted to the region beyond the material sky and is placed in one of the planets in the spiritual sky by the supreme will of the Lord, the controller of everything.
So
Hare
8th chapter
Krishna.
speaks about it.
Mm.
There are yogis who live in the morning, in the daytime, in the Uttarayana, in the Shukla Paksha, then they don't have to come back. They go in the Brahman. They are advanced yogis. There are not so much advanced yogis, and they get Dakshinayana. Then you have Krishna Paksha, night time. Then they have to come back. The devotee has not to think so much about it. He just have to think about Krishna, then he gets one of the loka of Krishna. See, here we'll stop. Questions you can ask. What questions? If you understand, only questions come now. No understanding, then what? Either no understanding, better take it. Just take it, accept it. Okay.
Mataji, can you
Yeah.
please explain? Kala Shakti is fine. Jeev Shakti is little bit I can understand. Then they have mentioned other terms also like Jnana Shakti, Dravya Shakti, Kriya Shakti. Can you please explain?
Jnana Shakti, Dravya Shakti, Kriya Shakti, same thing. Adhibhuta, Adhideva,
Oh,
Adhyatma.
then why are they confusing us, Mataji?
Dravya means matter. Okay. Jnana means knowledge. Kriya means activity. Same thing. Dravya, matter. Whenever matter comes, immediately you should understand it is Adhibhuta, Dravya.
Yes.
Then comes Jnana, Adhyatma, Kriya, activity. Then Adhideva. Shakti, yes, it is a power only, na? Krishna's power only. Even Mahatattva is Krishna's power. Krishna is creating by his glance. It is there, already dark region is there. But who has created that? Krishna only, no? And how it is created? The dark region is created because of ego. Wherever darkness means, it is self-centered ego. So dark means it is ignorance. That is why it starts from ignorance.
Yes.
So it is because of the ignorance. Yes, ignorance. It is technically easy to understand in a simplified way, and difficult to understand how Krishna glances at the dark region. When he glances, it should be now bright. He is glancing now. He is glancing, it should become bright. So what he does is, he activates it. That is how he is now agitating it, just by his glance. It is said now, when the Guru glances a disciple, all the ignorance is automatically removed. There is an agitation. Immediately the Guru sees, yes, the Guru's mercy, the glance of mercy, agitates and makes a person active in the devotional service. How a person becomes active? Just how now Guru is coming. Immediately what you do? You do a lot of activity. Why? It is how in the spiritual world and also in the material world also. For activating, some agitation should be there. Even for creation, agitation is there. And that only Krishna can do.
Mataji, the next question is like here, 22nd verse. We are seeing, like, I'm just going by the order. And then after the incarnation of the first Purusha, that is Karno Vashai Vishnu, the Mahat Tattva, or the principles of material creation take place, and then time is manifested. how Kala can
Manifested.
manifest?
Manifested. Unmanifested, manifested. Everything is there. The unmanifested form, now it is manifested. When you say manifestation, immediately don't think creation. Appearance. Time appears. Due course of time. When you say due course of time, time is always eternal factor. Among the 5 aspects, the 4 are eternal,
Hmm.
1 is changeable.
Yes, correct.
Time is also eternal. Only karma is changeable.
Hmm.
So time manifestation, time not manifesting.
I think little bit of that I can understand. My question is like, we have read it earlier also, like there's a time when everybody is in a state of, you can say, inactivity.
Slumberness.
So that is one time, then that is also a fixed time, and then everybody is becoming active after that. So these kind of processes, they are happening over a period of time. So how can Kal in itself be in an inert state?
It does not appear now. See, one is for not appearing, also time is there.
Yes.
For creation, now time is there.
Then
Daytime,
how can it
nighttime.
say manifest? Okay.
Daytime, nighttime.
How
Daytime, you're
sun
able
is
to
present
see.
in both the states. Okay.
Daytime, you're able to see. Nighttime, you're not able to see. Same like sun example. You can.
Why everything is so complex, Mataji? The Mahat Tattva, the principles. And what exactly do we mean by Mahat Tattva, Mataji?
Tattva.
Is it
Tattva
Pradhan?
means Pradhan. No, it is sum total of 24 elements. Sum total. From this, that, everything is there. Now this manifested, that manifested.
It is
Everything
different from
already
Pradhan.
there. It is sum total. In that, Pradhana is also there. First
Okay, that
comes
is
this,
also-
first comes that, like that. Pradhan
And
is what?
why
3 modes
do
of
they-
material nature.
Sorry.
Agitation. 3 modes of material nature is Pradhan. Agitated. When Lord glances, agitation happens. Because of time, agitation now. This came out, that came, that is seen, immediately. This is agitated. This agitation gives rise to this, and like this creation happens.
And for Mahat Tattva, why are they using the word principles of material creation?
Yeah, principle of material elements or material creation. They are the principles. 24 elements are the principles for the material creation. Basic
Okay.
principles.
Okay. And then time is manifested. And in course of time, the 3 qualities appear.
Actually,
three
more than Adhibhuta, Adhideva, and Adhideva, Adhibhuta, and what?
Adhyat.
Adhyatma. This Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti, Bala Shakti. What is Kriya Shakti, Jnana Shakti,
Shakti,
and
Dravya.
Dravya Shakti. These 3 words are more easy to understand. Dravya is matter, Kriya is activity, Jnana is knowledge.
I don't know what is easy to understand, Mataji. Easy word does not apply here. Okay. Nature appears at
Awesome.
Hare Krishna. Patitanam Pavanam Vaishnavam Ananta Koti Vaishnavam.